Well, I know what you were doing last summer. You were watching a better movie than this, I can tell you that. What's going on, people? Welcome to my review of I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025 edition today. This is the requel, as I like to call them, of the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. I'm going to be honest with you all, I really wasn't that excited for this movie, and that's mainly because I didn't really like the original all that much. But I was at least hopeful that we'd get a little entertaining throwback slasher movie with some entertaining kills and characters. Unfortunately, that is not what we got whatsoever. This movie is basically a worse version of the original. It's a complete carbon copy of the characters, the story, which does nothing to distinguish itself. They even reuse set pieces. This movie is just shoving nostalgia down your throat. Now, I've got nothing against high amounts of fan service in films. Many films I love have big amounts of fan service. But this is a clear example of how not to do nostalgia. There's a couple of moments in this movie that are just there to make you go like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was from the first film. Yeah, I remember that set piece. I remember that location from the first film. Even the returning characters from the original felt so shoved in. Jennifer Love Hewitt's character could have been cut out of the film completely. Nothing changes throughout the story. Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, he does do a lot more in the film, but I hated how he was written and what they did with him, especially towards the end. It's character assassination at its finest. I could not believe how they treated him. As a result, this movie is so focused on nostalgia and fan service that it becomes so distracting, and it just makes the whole story feel so obsolete. As for the new characters, they're basically just worse versions of the original films. And one thing that really surprised me about this film was how much it made me appreciate the original movie. One thing that I really liked about the original is the guilt that they had to deal with after the accident and how their lives went downhill. But in this movie, after the initial accident, their lives are pretty much the same aside from a few breakups. In fact, there is one character and her big thing about her life going downhill is that she's having a hookup. Oh no, no. Her life's ruined now. The dialogue was also absolutely awful. It felt like an 80-year-old was trying to write dialogue for millennials and Gen Z. Honestly, does not know how to write dialogue for those people. And it just comes off so cringeworthy and unnatural. And I felt so bad for the actors. I've seen them in other things. I know they're really good actors. They're talented. But even they can't save this dialogue. But if I am going to give this movie some sort of credit, I do think the film's kills were very entertaining. One thing I did say about the original, I found the kills very repetitive and in turn they became very boring. But with this film they lent it to the campy charm of the franchise, and the kills were very stupid, but for me, very entertaining. Visually, the film is just very stale. I mean, it's competently shot, competently edited, it looks fine, but it's like they just did a basic edit and just went, yeah, that'll do. That there's just no style or oomph to the edit and the cinematography. I also didn't like the music in this film, but this is coming from a guy who doesn't like modern pop music, so I kind of have to let it off a little bit because it's just not my cup of tea. And finally, despite the horrendous dialogue, the acting is overall okay. Chase Sue Wonders, I apologise if I pronounced that wrong. I've seen her in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. She's a very talented actress, and she's really good in this movie. She really does try her best. Madelyn Cline played easily my favourite character, mainly because she has a distinct personality, and the returning cast were very good, even if I do think Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character was ruined. So in conclusion, I Know What You Did Last Summer is a worse version of the original. Carbon copies the characters, the story, the set pieces, but just does them much worse. It does have some entertaining kills, the acting is overall okay, but I don't know why you'd go and see this film or watch it over the original. If you're a fan of the franchise, don't really rush out to see this one. I just really wasn't entertained by it whatsoever, and it's not as good as the original. So I'm going to have to give I Know What You Did Last Summer a very disappointing 1.5 out of 10. And people, that is the end of my review. If you have seen I Know What You Did Last Summer, do let me know what you thought of it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'd see you later.